Well, now that the bandits are dealt with, let's see what the damage is. It doesn't seem to be anything especially major. So I wonder why Rebecca is going to continue to follow us when she still has a home to come back to. If only all lords felt that way. Okay, wasn't expecting the random civilian to essentially support my cynical line there. War with who in particular? You kind of need at least 2 factions to conduct a war, after all. Wait, if he's ignoring bandits, then he's letting his own economy get screwed over. I'm pretty sure that a lord that does that sort of thing is not going to continue to be a lord for very much longer. Well, at least he had somewhere to run to, where he still had some measure of roots. A lot of people don't have that much. I'm sure we're going to be heading to Laos to investigate at some point. It's not like we have any major leads on where Eliwood's father might be, so any random rumor of things not operating as they should in Lycia is as good a way to figure out where to go as any. Who knows, we might even be able to find a legitimate lead to Eliwood's father that way. Again, yes, that's what I was saying. Tenuous or not, it's not like we have anywhere else to go at the moment. Don't thank me yet, I'm coming along with you. It's not like I have any other obligations at the moment. There's no perhaps about it. We have no choice. We're sticking with you until the end of this conflict, however long that's gonna take. Well, I'm sure there's gonna be plenty of fighting in that road, and I'm pretty sure if I wasn't directing you guys that you'd end up in a lot worse shape. I'll try not to screw up on you too much, so, let's go do this. Well, it's hard to regret something if you didn't have a choice in the matter in the first place. Oh, she's gonna join the other distinctive-looking characters. I'm sure this is a lovely, peaceful place most of the time, but she clearly wants to be part of an adventure. And I guess we'll just have to see how long until I put her on the proverbial bench. You want to go purely because there's danger ahead? Huh. You're not exactly easing your father's nerves here. And you will be useful, at least at first, but if we run into Will again, or especially Wrath, you're gonna end up just following the crew and not contributing to the fights anymore. Wait, brother? There are other things a magistrate's daughter can do than just hit the road and try to bring a lost brother back. But I suppose it's a more respectable reason to want to leave than just feeling an itch that you want to go on an adventure, so there's that. I don't think he's going to object all that hard, especially considering how few people he has with him at this point. Not an especially emotional parting there, but then it's not like this game is especially good at character interactions anyway. Now, let's see what the next mission has in store for us. I doubt we'll be able to finish it, but we can at least get a good chunk of it done. I'll take his word for it, since it's not like I know the terrain and its various roads all that well. Does this local lord have a name? I doubt I'll remember it, but it'd still be worth hearing if he's the first part of our journey. Oh, we most certainly know that music. Only the Black Fang so far has gotten such a distinctive motif. Right. Kind of predictable that we aren't going to be able to just casually walk up to the local lord and ask a few questions. Still, it's interesting to learn that the group that kidnapped Ninian and tried to grab Nils as well is pulling the strings out here. Well, the truth is always a nice option, but I suppose you don't really like that idea. Especially when you have a menacing figure like this giving you a hooded stare. Oh dear, you're not doing your life expectancy any favors there, old man. And I'm sure he'd detect an unsure lie in a hurry if you're that close to him. I suppose that's one solution, but Hollywood is not going to just back off because you start looking dangerous. He's a protagonist, and the mentality with people like that is they will push forward until they're either killed or dragged away screaming. And I very much doubt this hooded guy is telling the truth, what he intends to happen to Hollywood anyway. Well, that sounds ominous for Hollywood's father and the knights that went with him. Shame we can't tell him about the cutscene we just saw. That sounds like a reasonable enough plan. Why are you referring to him by his province instead of his name if he's so close to Hollywood and his family, though? Wait, the player character came up with this plan? I'm sorry, but I shouldn't be the last to know that our player avatar character came up with an idea and interacted with the various characters to enact it. I'm sure he wants to help us. Unfortunately, he seems to be associated somehow with the organization that's going to be the center cause of all our troubles in this campaign. Oh good, the enemy has some spear users. That should give Torcus something to cut into without too much trouble. Hey, it's not his fault he was born chunkier than anyone outside of a bandit clan. Besides, everyone looks equally clean from where I'm sitting. Well, if they want him dead, then they'll have to do better than a bunch of local bandits. Looks like 14 of the bastards for us to deal with. My mistake, 15. So, essentially 3-to-1 odds. I feel like we should be able to handle that, though. Well, only for now at least. I'm sure we'll all go our separate ways again once this long job is completed. Good to hear that both of you have such a high opinion of us after the previous campaign. Huh. For some reason I was expecting that to be a weapons shop. It's not like you can tell what a shop is going to be selling around here unless you actually walk into it. Well, 22 clips into this game, I certainly hope I have some experience. Well, since you look that old and generic, I'm pretty sure your time passed quite a while ago. Actually, the most important thing is positioning, closely followed by your stats, which is then followed by what weapon you've got compared to the weapon of your enemy. Or at least that's the case from where I'm standing as the tactician of these people. The people actually swinging the swords and axes probably need to worry about their technique to their attacks more than I do. Kind of wish that we could use something like a book of skills on more than just one character, but I suppose it makes sense that it's another single-use improvement item, mostly because we've seen 2 others so far in the game, and neither of them felt like the sort of things that should disappear after a single use either. Should I bother asking what you saw? Well, that theory is confirmed. As if the little cutscene before we went back to Elliewood wasn't evidence enough. Bit of a shame that this guy doesn't tell us what direction they went. That might have saved us some time. Well, maybe not the entire world, but certainly Lycia at the very least. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, at least not for the better. This campaign is only just starting. Well, if we didn't trust them, then we wouldn't fight alongside them. I'm sorry, I already know what mechanic you're referencing there, but I have the distinct feeling it will take all the way to the GameCube game for this series to be able to pull off the bond mechanic well enough to mean anything in a single playthrough. And of course, that fortune teller lady decides not to say anything further on the subject that the game designers themselves haven't fully figured out at this stage of the series yet. Granted, there's a reason I started working on the series with this game instead of further forward like at Awakenings. For one thing, I've always felt a bit awkward about games that have any kind of dating mechanics, and at some point later in the series it becomes very heavily influenced with dating mechanic bullshit. And for another, I'd like to see how the series evolved from the point when it was first introduced to the West onwards. I could use some ROM hacks and fan translations to play some of the games from before they bothered shipping them beyond Japan, but I'm not quite that big of a fan of the franchise, and I'm pretty sure some of the older games have such absolutely cheap bullshit to throw at you that it'd be downright frustrating to try. Maybe not the best formation I have at the moment, but to be fair, We're heavily outnumbered, and I'm hoping these guys are gonna be willing to march towards us for a while. That fort that Bartray is on certainly is something we could use to make up for the fact that we don't have a medic on this team just yet, though one of the other forts further forward might actually be better. We'll see. As a side note, it makes sense this guy wanted nothing to do with Lowen. Really? That's all the movement we're gonna get from the enemy right now? Why do I even feel disappointed? I should damn well know how the enemy tends to make their decisions in this game, considering we're 22 clips in. Oh yeah, Lowen is very much too much for this guy to handle. No wonder the swordsman wanted nothing to do with him. I almost feel guilty for this. I'm not too sure it's a good idea for our own people to cross mountains. We're just gonna stick to the open plains, forests, and the various buildings. That might be limiting our tactical options, but still, I like having full mobility when possible. Well, he's the kind of noble who gets tutoring how to fight, whereas you get most of your training by getting into barroom brawls that you might not remember in the morning. Okay, so everyone mobile is gonna come down the mountains then? Well, at least that's kind of helpful for us, really. And it feels like the fort right next to Elliewood is going to be especially important in this battle after all, so let's hold our ground. Yeah, that seems to be his plan. Well, that's certainly not a good way to prevent someone from getting involved. Guess we're gonna get introduced to this fresh character via him killing a soldier. So much of a hurry, we couldn't even get to see you kill the guy in an actual in-game fight for some reason. Well, Sarah, if you hate violence, then you shouldn't be in a battlefield. Oh, don't worry, he resorted to violence against a generic foe, and I'm fairly certain killing generic soldiers who are very unwilling to help your friends isn't all that frowned on in this world, if not the entire series. I'm sorry, why are we getting lectures about not resorting to violence in this story? I didn't think we booted up Ace Combat or a Gundam game, where they can get downright ham-fisted about violence being bad, while showing some amazing action sequences that make it all look so bloody awesome. The medic will slow us down? Are you an absolute moron? In any combat situation, the medic is among the most important people to follow you. Seriously, the fact that we're being denied a medic when Sarah is very much available feels pretty bullshit to me. Ah, good. The store actually sells some weapons. We could use a few more, considering the sheer number of enemies we're gonna have to deal with in this mission. Okay then, the two characters we've just gained for the moment are a heavily armored spearman and a heroic axe user. Now, I'm not gonna use Oswin all that much since he's a slow-moving character who's got high defense in a game where high mobility is king. Kind of funny to say since my big strategy is most of my team just holding the ground, but still. Whereas Hector is one of the bare few lords in the series who uses axes instead of swords. The only other axe-using lord I can think of in the franchise is Edelgard from Three Houses, quite a few games from now. I have the very distinct feeling I don't want to use the axe he's currently got all that much since I want it to remain usable for the entire campaign. We're definitely going to want yet another iron axe to give to him, though. Maybe we won't have to buy another one since we've got 3 axe users on the team at this point, and I doubt we're going to deploy all 3 of them in every mission. At least one of them is going to be doomed to sit on the bench in the next mission, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Bartray. No offense to him, but he just doesn't have the veterancy of Dorcas, and I'm pretty sure Hector is going to get more conversations over the course of the campaign story. Though I can't help wondering why our most common recruit at the moment are axe users when we're mostly fighting against axe users. What, does that mean that when the most common enemy on the map is going to be spear users, we're finally going to be getting some more spear users? Oh yeah, I forgot about Oswin for a moment there. Understandable, he and Hector just showed up without any warning whatsoever into this mission. Yeesh, I'm apparently as iffy about Oswin gaining kills as I am of Marcus. Definitely not the best attitude to have when, you've got some highly capable fighters and you're completely outnumbered. Not a bad level up there. Let's see if you can keep that up there, Eliwood. Two kills for Hector, and he's only been out for 1 turn. But part of me feels a bit awkward about running down the uses of that Wolf Beal thing. I'm pretty sure we're supposed to have that weapon all the way to the final mission of the game, however far away that is. And, we're spending charges on it pretty fast here. Okay, Hector's up to 3 and I only moved him once. At the very least, spear users everywhere should beware of this guy. Okay, why is it that the enemy wanted to avoid fighting Lowen since that was one-sided as hell, but they still sent someone after Oswin who's even more lopsided against them? Why not go after Dorcas or Batre? I'm pretty sure they're in range for this guy, but Right, feeding the poor archer to Dorcas here. Kinda makes me wish the enemy had some kind of surrender option for their troops, but then it's not like the player ever gets to surrender in order to avoid someone getting killed. And I suppose it makes sense since most of the hostiles we deal with in this game are not inclined to take us as prisoners. Okay, apparently Hellman doesn't command all that much respect even among his generally pretty content populace. Not that I was expecting him to be all that major of a character in this story despite the close connection with our main character Eliwood. I just somehow was not expecting him to be damned by vain praise by a random old lady in a random house. I'm not really stocking up on much, but I'm fairly certain this mission isn't gonna last too much longer. We've been doing well despite the enemy's numbers, and since they're accommodating enough to line up for us, I'm pretty content to just let them come and slaughter them one by one. I suppose we'll have to wait for the next clip for us to finish everyone in this group. There's no way I can fit the entire mission here, but everything feels pretty much in hand at this point. Lowen just became an ace, and I'm hoping that Eliwood becomes one before the mission is done. There's certainly enough bodies that he's going to have that chance at any rate.